Well, good day everybody, and we just hit 15,000 miles, and it's time to start doing some complaining about this long-term 2022 Mazda 3. So it's actually pretty tough to find 5 things to complain about. And again, I wouldn't even call these complaints. I would say these are just nitpick. You're gonna hear these and you're gonna go, wow, you're really nitpicking. And it's like, yeah, you're right. We are nitpicking. So we're gonna call these nits. There's 5 of them. I'm gonna cover them later on in the video here. And maybe one of them is borderlining on a complaint, a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. Now, another thing I should mention before we get into this today is that leave your questions and comments below. We will take any comment, any question about this Mazda 3, any Mazda, but we're gonna pick 5. We're gonna pick 5 from the first initial viewing when we release this video. We're gonna pick 5, and we're gonna cover that on our next Q&A number 2. So if you wanna have your question addressed, leave it below, or like I said, we're gonna pick 5. First, we'll do a little bit of an update of what's been going on for the last 5,000 miles. And the big change here is we have entered the winter months. And yeah, so not a lot of snow. You know, this car doesn't have snow tires or any kind of good tires on it anyway, so I wouldn't expect it to be very good in the snow. But we have had a lot of opportunity to really deal with this, understand how this heating in this car works. So we're gonna cover that. So over the last 5,000 miles, just normal stuff. A few little road trips here and there, commuting, running to the store, and the car. Not going to say a lot about driving today because this car remains very enjoyable to drive. Always look forward to getting into this car, whether it's to drive to work or to run up to the store, or definitely take a road trip. Now, as far as the exterior goes, we have not noticed any like premature chipping on the front area of this car so far, so that's good. You know, we did do a couple videos out there on just washing this, so check those out. We also, not too long ago, maybe a month or 2 ago, we did some ceramic spray coating, and that went pretty well. This is the 3rd one of our series on this car, so check out the other 2 long-term updates. One's an intro, one's a 10,000 mile update, and we do have a full review out there, so check out all of that. Now, before we get started on today's update, I do want to give you a thank you, a hearty thank you for pushing on this video today. There's so many car videos out there, and you picked this one, so we really appreciate that. And always check out our other content and subscribe and like. We would greatly appreciate that also. And one of the other things we also recently did just a couple weeks ago is we did our own oil change. Every 5,000 we do an oil change. On the 10,000 marks, the dealer does it. Now, first things first, let's just cover miles per gallon or fuel efficiency over the last 5,000 miles. So over that first 10,000, I think we were up around 33. I'd say over the last 5,000, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was right around 31 mpg. So we did go down. You know, a lot of that's just due to winter driving. I think they changed the fuel blends. You know, it's still within the error. You know, all of our MPGs are calculated based on the pump fill up. No new issues, no new rattles, no rattles at all. Car remains pretty, you know, really solid, and no creaks or anything like that. No new issues, no new quality issues or anything. You'll know in that last video, if you watch it, I reported that our stereo freaks out from time to time, and lo and behold, it has not done that. It's been quite a while, so I'm not sure if that's a gremlin that just only pops up every once in a while, or somehow it fixed itself. I don't know. I don't think there's been any software updates over the air, but I can always check that. We really got to know the pluses and minuses of the heating in here. Now, the air conditioning was great. One thing nice about the air conditioning, it was fast to cool down the car, no issues there. And this is kind of a set and forget system in the summertime. You just set it at the temperature you want, and you're always comfortable. It's not really the case that I have found in the wintertime. This has been, you have to, it's not set or forget. I find myself always mucking with this dial, mainly because the way the temperature, there's a temperature sensor right here for the cabin, and it will blow really hot air at you trying to get this entire cabin warm. while you're comfortable. So I find myself turning this down quite a bit. The only other thing I would say is that this car doesn't warm up fast. It doesn't warm up any slower than any other non-turbo engine. And the seat heaters themselves, you know, you really do, preheating the seats doesn't help a lot. You really do need to plop your bum down in them and get some pressure on them to get that heat moving to the outside. The only feature request related to this thing is, you know, if you have seat heaters, I would like to have a heated steering wheel. That sounds a little bit like a whine there, or a wimp, but yeah, once you have that nice heated steering wheel, it just adds so much to the luxury sort of feel of the car. So I think you have to go up to the turbo premium plus trim of this 3 to get a heated steering wheel. But I would like to see that. That would be my only, of all the features of this car that I really would like to see or have, would be a heated steering wheel. But it, you know, it's not going to kill you at the end of the day to not have it. So there you go. One other thing is these buttons along here. I've had some questions online. The recirculate button and the direction where the air comes out of are not marked. You know, the other ones are really, really well lit. So, but they're right under here. They put a little bit of a nub. Put a little bit of a nub on there so you can kind of feel those buttons in the dark. And I'm not sure why they didn't mark them. You just kind of have to go by the screen. So somebody asked a question about that online, and just kind of answering it right there. Okay guys, let's kick things off here with number 5, and it has to do with the remote start app. Again, I'm not going to complain anything today about the back seat, piano black, rear torsion beam, any of that stuff. So you can check out all our videos for commentary on those items. However, this app works really, really well. It's 100% reliable, and it's always worked. So really, really happy with it. However, it does do a weird thing. So let's go ahead and start her up. The little thing there. Let's just count down. So you can see how quick that was. That was really, really quick. So really been happy with this. It's really come in handy when like the car's out in the parking lot and you just want to get it started and get a little bit of warmth on it. But here's the weird thing. The engine stops. Now I do not know why this happens. My assumption is that it's obviously for safety, but I cannot figure out exactly why for safety. The other thing I'm thinking is that maybe it's so Mazda can be compliant in a bunch of different countries for the app. So I don't know. And again, it's not a complaint. It's just weird. You know, you have to get in and then restart it. Again, not a big deal. The only time this is a little bit of a big deal is when you're trying to put stuff in the car, you want to start it, and then you have to get, you know, you're loading the thing up and you want it to run and it'll stop. So again, that's number 5. If you have any reasons why you think this is happening, again, I think it's for safety, but it's just really, really odd. So not a big complaint. A little bit of personality maybe in this 3. Okay, so number 4, kind of a weird nitpicky thing is, you know, if you go into the menu system here, and I think I've covered this, you go into settings and you go down here to vehicle settings, and you'll see down here, I'm just scrolling down, hopefully you can see that in this sunlight, occupant comfort. It's a little checkbox, you can check that, turn it on or off, and it says it enables climate control to activate seat heating, cooling functions when set to auto. So what this does is, you know, if you're doing the auto climate and it's a little chilly in the cockpit, in the interior of the car, it will automatically turn on the seat heaters for you. I have found this to be very inconsistent. It doesn't do much. At most, it's come on at the first setting, which on that first setting, you can barely feel these seat heaters. It would be much nicer, Mazda, if these seat heaters activated on the remote start based on outside temperature. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about number 3. Now, number 3, again, a little bit of maybe a feature request, not really a complaint, and that has to do with there's no ambient lighting in here, okay? There's nothing in the footwell. You know, there's just none. But the lighting in here is very good. Again, it looks really, really good in here at nighttime. However, The only place I would like some lighting is down in this cubby area right here, especially if you're driving at night and you're on a trip. This is just one of those places where all your little things kind of end up there. Your keys, your pack of gum or whatever, it all ends up in this dark area. So maybe a little bit of ambient light down in here is, again, more of a feature request, not really a complaint. Probably could do something aftermarket right there, but a nice storage area. That's where your drinks go. I like this area right here. I like that it's open, but it's just dark at night. So, yeah, there you go, number 3. Now, number 2, again, I would say it's a little bit on the verge between a gripe or a nit and a complaint. And you'll know that I'm a big fan of the control dial. I'm a big fan of this system. I have a video out there on a deep dive through the menus. Now, you'll notice in that video that I do mention that if you use the radio, and tuning the radio is a little bit of a pain in the tuchus. So that's the only complaint I have with this system. If you want to go to your radio and you want to start tuning in channels,
the bag contained cocaine, packs of cigarettes.
Maybe you're in a new area or something like that. It's a royal pain, and I'm going to admit that. The other thing I have an issue with is if you want to change any of your audio settings, like you want to change the bass, treble, well, most time you should just do that while you're stopped anyway. But if you want to do something while you're driving along, I know I've wanted to turn off center point. It's multiple clicks here into the menu system until you get to your bass, treble, your center point for your bows and things like that. I thought originally you could put those menus as a favorite item, but I have not figured out how to do that. So again, that is number, what was that? Number 2, number 3? I don't even remember now. All right, so let's go ahead and do number 1, the big one. Again, this was really, I would say, a legitimate complaint. It's really a pet peeve of mine, and that has to do with these windows. You know, if it's a cold morning or a chilly morning and you get that dew on your windows and they're all sort of fogged up, you know, you really need to put those windows down and squeegee, you squeegee them off. And I hate to say it, but in the squeegee test, I think I have some footage here. This 3 fails miserably. Not one of these 4 windows will squeegee off. Now, I did do a CX-50 a little while ago, and all 4 windows squeegeed great on that car. So whether a car squeegees the windows when you put them down or not, it seems to be really, really hit or miss, not just between brands, but also between specific models and maybe even within different builds of that model. So again, that is a pet peeve of mine. I think it's a safety thing. You really do need to have clear windows. You have to put them all down, or you have to get out with a towel and wipe them off. So again, that is definitely verging on complaint. So there's number 1. Okay, so as you can see, not much to complain about it. 15,000 miles. There's just really nothing about this car that really, really bothers me. Okay, so we'll wrap this up. So, hey guys, so leave your questions below. We want to hear your questions and your comments. The very next video on this Mazda 3 will be dedicated to answering those questions. So we're going to pick 5, as I mentioned, and we're going to check that out in our next video. So again, thank you for watching today. That's very, very important. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And also, make sure you have a great day, morning or evening, wherever you may be.